Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, altcoin season. I know so many of you are looking for altcoin season to happen. I know some of you guys anticipated altcoin season to happen in 2024. I know some of you guys anticipated to happen, probably that April May time, right? Because based off last cycle, it was around April, May, when we take the same length of the last cycle, right? But now we are in June and altcoins are still fairly low. Some of the cheapest they have been for the last, let's just say, year and a half to 2 years, right? Just a general range. So people are probably wondering what the hell is going on? Is altcoin season dead? Now, my answer is no. No, 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 no. And the reason why I say this is because of this chart over here. Okay. Now, before we dive into the chart, I will say, yes, I did think altcoins would hold better despite this chart, because Bitcoin is extremely high, right? I did think, your average altcoin, even though Bitcoin dominance hasn't broke the downside, which is the main trigger for altcoins to start flourishing, I did think altcoins would hold better, right? I would not be lying to you if I thought if you asked me last year in the beginning of 2024, that render would still be 385 by the time we're in June of 2025. I would have thought, no, this is probably going to be holding, between $10 to $15 at this point at the lowest, especially at Bitcoin's at 105,000. So I will say that, right? I did think altcoins would just casually creep up, go up and down, but slowly just trend upwards for the last year and a half. Like I really did think so. Okay. But that's not the case. Okay. That's not the case. But look, I'm not worried for multiple reasons. Okay. This chart right here is pretty much going to be the indicator of when altcoins start. Okay. Practically, when altcoin dominance goes up, when Bitcoin dominance goes up, altcoins in general struggle, right? Like I said, I thought it's gonna be a little bit better with, even with the struggles, but it's not. And that's just how it is sometimes. We're not the market makers, we are simply the ones that participate. But look, we can see, this has just been retesting very well fundamentally, right? Very, very well. Just classic push, right? Then we had a big pullback, right, which we talked about at that time, right, a couple months ago. And I know my channel was smaller a couple months ago, but we talked about how we believe that this was just a classic support resistance retest, right? Because we had multiple months here of support. We're just thinking boom, especially when the candle closed green, right? And then we looked at the weekly and we're saying, okay, this is going to be an indicator because some people believe that January, February, potentially altcoins can pump. And I said, listen, guys, right, we are in a stalemate, right? We have a high, we have a lower high, but we also have a low and a higher low. So the markets had to decide. Now I bet my bets at saying, hey, we were going to push the upside because we had a huge retest off of the monthly support. That's what I said, and that's exactly what happened. Right, a couple weeks later, it was proven right. Okay, and ever since then, it's just been doing very, very basic fundamental things, right? Just in terms of pullbacks, right? Every time it pulled back, it retested off the previous highs, it continued to push up. Now, just a couple weeks ago, if you've been paying attention to the channel or if you're in the private community, we talked about how it was expected for Bitcoin dominance to drop to 62% most likely. And I said the furthest it should absolutely push, and that's me still being generous, was back down to the zone of a little bit above 60%, right? That's what we talked about for the most fundamental pullbacks. And we can see we literally just went below 62% by a little bit, right? We went to like what, 61.90, and instantly, right, we are going up. Now, look, I believe this is the same type of scenario that we're in right now is what we had over here, right? It's going to look kind of 50-50, lower highs, higher lows, and then we're just going to smash the upside, right? It's going to be the exact same thing. So I believe, whatever happens, even if we have a slight pullback, I believe we're going to be bursting up because the higher time frame suggests we will. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means altcoins are never going to flourish until this breaks. Now, when is it going to break? Well, I believe that it is going to break once we kind of start getting into like the 69 to 70, like 4% zone. Now, I know that's kind of high, But the exact percentage doesn't matter. It's more of the structure that's going to happen in the future. Now, the reason why I say this is because one, right, we could just simply go to this zone, consolidate, break below, and then do the typical what we did last time, right? And the reason why I say we could just consolidate, create a lower high is because we have a lot of structure here. So we might just bounce off this. But there's also a chance that the markets sweep these highs and then break on a lower time frame, right? Break on a lower time frame and then really sell off, kind of like the way they did here. They pushed up, boom, consolidated, broke down super, super heavily, right? Super, super heavily. And then, right, then they consolidated for a couple of weeks and then they continued to sell off. Now, here's the deal, right? Once altcoins, start kind of like breaking down like this and this, like going up and down, here you're going to see like altcoins slowly rise. Once we have a bigger dump, kind of like the way we had here, like a bigger dump, that's when you're going to see altcoins just go all of a sudden, like let's say render, right? Render might be like $4 or $5 here. By the time it reaches here, it might be like 6, 7. And then from 7, it might go to like, you know, 18, 20. And then it's going to consolidate, right? It's going to go between like $20 and $13. And next thing you know, it's going to come back near 20. And then from 20 to like $100. And then that's it. That's altcoin season. Like that's it. Like, but we're almost there. That's a good thing. That is almost a good thing. Now, I haven't looked at this at all, but I want to see if global liquidity has anything to do with Bitcoin dominance. Now, I don't think it does. Like, I really don't think there should be any correlation. So, this part of the video might be slightly useless. Okay, it might be slightly useless, but we will see because we're going to do this in real time. So, there's usually a 91-day delay in terms of how well altcoins pump. Ooh, which I mean, like the markets, the tops, 84 days, 84 to 91. And if you remember, altcoins actually did flourish altcoins actually did flourish when we were down here, right? It was like the end of December, or sorry, the end of November was the peak. The beginning of December was also the peak. And then like beginning, early, middle was also a peak for some coins, but they already start to sell off. So, we are kind of looking at it. It just might be in reverse, right? 84 days. And obviously, if you take the second top over here, it's going to be 91. So it could be it could actually work, just it might be in reverse. Now if we take this and we go 91 days, right, it's over here. Very, very interesting. Now I don't know. I don't think there's too much correlation, right? Because right now where we're at, right over here, the liquidity before it's about to pump, this is like 91 days. So I don't think there's going to be too much correlation. I think it's going to be very, very hard to actually, correlate these two. But I guess it was worth a try. Maybe I could figure something out with certain other data to know when things are going to drop. But at the end of the day, it's more about just looking at the structure in real time, seeing a big break of structure on a higher time frame, and obviously seeing our altcoins go up. It is that simple. Now, obviously, guys, I'll keep you updated on the channel. But if you want quicker and faster and better information, make sure to join the private community. Crypto, the next few months are going to be absolutely crazy. Do not mess anything up. Also, do portfolio review and much more. Love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should've, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets.